today because it is the AFL Grand Final, and I really wanted to share a lot of value today because today's session is all about achieving goals, not just being a goal setter, but being a goal getter. And because today is the AFL Grand Final, you've got teams out of 15 teams, 2 teams have come down through adverse conditions, playing away from their families in a totally different environment, totally different league. And out of those 15 teams, 2 are going to battle it out today, and only one's going to come out as the winner of the grand final of the AFL Premiership for 2020. And if you think about it, there's certain things that those teams have done that every team does to try and be a goal getter, but not everybody gets that goal. And today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some empirical evidence and research that can show you exactly what you need to do to give you a higher probability of achieving your goals. Because if you can remember back to the beginning of this year before it all turned to crap, and you had those great goals that you set in the New Year's resolutions, I mean, if you think about where you were back then and where you are now, and if you actually had achieved them, then I'm sure for a lot of you, there may have been a big gap. So I'm going to show you today how to close it. And it's the other reason why I'm wearing this t-shirt here, which is from Star Wars, Stay on Target. This is when Luke Skywalker's going down the Death Star. He's about to, he has to put the protons down to and blow up the Death Star. And he's told just to stay on target, stay on target. So that's obviously something that you need to do to achieve your goals, but life can get in the way, just like COVID. So, but what I'm going to do is show you some key steps so that you can just keep on going without letting things get in the way, so that you have a higher probability of achieving your goals. And I'll show you the exact number increase in probability that you can get by just doing the things that I'm about to share with you. So I'm going to go now here and share the screen here on the little PowerPoint that I prepared, just so that you can get a sense of what we're trying to achieve here. All right, now let me come. Here we go. Right. So it's about goal getting, not just setting. So a lot of people love to set goals, and a lot of people like to talk about goals, but it's a very few that actually get goals. And if you are a person that has thought about things in the past and not achieved them, then this presentation is for you. Now, you may have, perhaps you've heard about the Yale study of the 1953 graduates. Now, this study was apparently what happened was that they did some research and showed that in the 1953 class, only 3% set their goals on what they wanted to do for their future. So they physically set down their goals and they wrote them down on paper, and then they handed them in. And according to the study, 20 years later, when the group got together for the 20-year reunion, what they found was those 3% that had set their goals down, they were earning 10 times more than the rest of the class. So this little purple group here became the big group here by 10x. So if you were just like everybody else, the 97%, where you had no goals, you're just sort of happy to have graduated and then just stumbling through looking for your next job, then you were earning 10% of what your classmates were, according to the study. So, you know, this research has been used by dozens and dozens, maybe even hundreds of, experts, and for life coaches and motivational speakers and people like Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins, to show you the impact of actually writing down your goals. Now, the thing about it though is, unfortunately, this research actually didn't exist. So according to these Dr. Gail Matthews from Dominican University and Stephen Krause from Harvard Uni, they went around. I mean, they're so fascinated by this. They want to actually get the evidence, and so they could share it. They went to Yale. They spoke to the librarians. They spoke to the school, and there was no study that had been conducted. And in fact, the Fast Company magazine in 1996 debunked it in an article that they wrote. So this was obviously quite disheartening because, you know, here's something that seems to make sense. And so you buy into it, but then when you have a look at it, there's actually no study being done on it. So what Dr. Matthews decided to do was to do her own research. So she actually did some goals research at Dominican University, and you can go here and look it up. It's there was a paper that was released in 2015 about the research, which was done about 10 years previously. And you can go to that website, scholar.dominican.edu, and look this up for yourself. I'm going to show you the results of this, and this is the research that you need to take into consideration in terms of how you can go from being a goal setter to a goal getter, because let's face it, everybody's a goal setter. So what they did was Dr. Matthews and her team got participants from all around the world. And there was about 267 of a group, which of a cohort, ages between 23 and 72, different countries, just so they can get different experiences, as well as that, different areas of occupation, entrepreneurs, educators, artists, bankers, HR people, etc. So it was a wide range, and it was a very controlled group. So, and this was a research study that was done, and then they pulled people in random, and they allocated them to 5 different groups. Now, in the first group, they asked the first group to just think about their goals. They asked them just to sit there and, everybody thinks about their goals, whether you want to change the world, or whether you want to, become extremely wealthy, or you want to buy your dream house, or whether you just want to cook a nice lasagna for dinner. Everything that you decide on is a goal. So these people, this first group, all they did was think about their goals. And because they were in the experiment, they were most probably quite aspirational. Between the groups 2 to 5, they asked them to then write their goals. So group 1 was think about it, and then the next 4 groups, 2, 3, 4, 5, was just to write down their goals. Then the other groups that they got, so group 3, they said, okay, now that you've done that, I want you to write down some action commitments, some action items. Put them down in your calendar, in your diary, however you want to do it. Put down some action items to make them happen. And I'm sure you probably may have done this yourself, where you've had, when you did your New Year's resolution, it wasn't just I wanted to get fit. You actually put down some action items. But these people wrote them down, and then they wrote down the plan. Now, the 4th group, they said, now that you've written down your plans, want you to also now share it with a friend. So it becomes public. So this is like announcing it on Facebook or on social media. I am going to go and do a 30-day challenge. I'm announcing it with a friend. And the last group, what they did was, okay, now you've done all that, you've announced it to your friend. I want you to do more than that. I'm going to keep in touch with your friend, and I want you to give weekly goal progress reports to them. So give them updates. Give yourself some accountability on how you're going towards your goals. So just in summary, here's what it looks like. Now you can see here that thinking about your goals, here's your groups down in this column, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here's the action items that they asked them to do. So everybody had to think about their goals. And you can see it sort of cascades down. And it got to group 5, who were the only ones that thought about them, wrote them down, wrote down some action items to commit to, shared it with a friend, and then gave weekly progress reports. Now, what type of goals did they write down? Well, they were pretty serious. I mean, there were a variety, from completing projects to increasing income, through to increasing productivity, life balance, reducing working anxiety, and learning a new skill. So these were some pretty major goals. And in terms of the ones that actually achieved goals, when they reported in having completed the goals, this is what the goals were. So like writing a chapter of a book, selling a house, completing a plan, hiring employees, even preventing a hostile takeover. So these weren't Mickey Mouse goals that we are measuring here. So we've got a control group. So just think about this. We've got a control group under research from various parts of the world, various ages, various backgrounds, various demographics, and various occupations, having some pretty serious goals. So let's have a look and see what the outcome is and what impact this means to you. So probably no surprise on the first one is that the mean goal achievement. So don't worry about what the actual number is. The number represents the actual mean outcome. So what this means, the average. So the unwritten goals had a mean outcome of 4.28, but the groups, the 2, 3, 4, and 5 as an aggregate together had an average of 6.44. So what that actually means is that if you even just write down your goals, you have a 50% greater chance of achieving your goals. A 50% greater chance. So that is the difference between $1,000 and $1,500, between $1 million and 1.5 mil. It's a massive increase in terms of the ability to achieve what you put down. So if anything from today, don't just think and dream about things. Even just writing them down is action, and that could lead to a potential 50% chance of achieving your goals. Now, let's have a look at the impact in terms of the journey going through the 5 stages. It's really, really interesting. When we have a look and see here in the 5 groups, we've got down the bottom. So here you've got group 1, written goals, unwritten goals. Group 2, wrote them down. Group 3, wrote the actions. Group 4, committed to a friend. And group 5, sent in progress reports to their friend. So we've already seen the outcome for someone with unwritten goals. So that's 4.28. Now, if you actually had have just written down all you do, like let's say next New Year's Eve, you make a commitment to whatever it is you want to do, extra exercise, you want to increase your income, whatever it is, if you just write it down only, then you have, it goes up to 6.08, and that's a 42% chance of achieving your goal purely by writing it down. And I know a lot of people just talk about stuff, but they never even just write it down. So I'm talking about physically writing it down in paper, what you're going to be doing. The next group here, you can see when they write down the action items, interestingly, it decreased. So what you go from is being extremely hyped and excited about, dreaming about your goals and putting them down on paper. Then you write down your action items, and then you go into a slump and you think, oh my God, I've got to actually do it now. So you actually go backwards when you actually put down the commitment items, which is really interesting, isn't it? But here's the thing. If you drop by 19%, if you tell a friend, then you go up almost 50% from actually only thinking about it. But if you more than just tell a friend, so you committed it to it, and you do those progress reports, you have a staggering 78% greater chance of achieving the goals than if you just think about them. So the key to you actually hitting your goals and being a goal getter, not just a goal setter, like the two teams in the AFL grand final today, Richmond and Geelong, they were a goal getters because they had all these, every AFL team has these things in place, but these obviously did them, it worked well for them. They all write down, they all think about them, they'll write about them, they all obviously put down commitment plans, and they tell the whole world, and I'm not actually sure how, in terms of the progress reports and reporting back to their fan group or to the board or into the player group. So that's a really key metric for you to take on board. So really, that's evidence on what you need to do to achieve goals. So the things that you can do right now, there's a couple of things. The first thing is to like this page, because I am really loving giving value like this and away for free to as many people as I can, and hopefully to be able to make your life better. The things that you can do right now is just to write down your goals. So let's just write down what your goals are going to be for the next 2 months, even to the end of the year. Write them down and then figure out a system on how you're going to track that progress. Right? Speak to a friend, speak to a coach, speak to an advisor, financial advisor, work out a way that you can track your progress so you can achieve those goals. Okay, the other thing that you're going to want to do, which will really make an impact to you to be able to track your goals and keep on track, is to download the book. Now go to fundmoney.me and download that cash flow breakthrough book. It's free. You get it for free. And that will give you some tips on how you can start tracking progress. It'll help you get a cash flow breakthrough so you can start feeling like you're making progress on your money. So then you can be in a good space to be thinking about goals, because right now is a great time, guys. Right now, you've got 2 more months left for the year. It's been a pretty average year all around for a lot of people, but we've got the opportunity now to hit 2021 running. And if we can, you can just get down there, start thinking about your goals. How do you want to burst into 2021 so that you are hitting it in full straps? Because you want to be going into 2021 with this t-shirt on here saying staying on target. You want to be Luke Skywalker. You want to be blowing up that Death Star, which is the stupid COVID, and blowing it to smithereens and moving it into the new world to be living your dreams in 2021. So that's it from me, guys. I know I've gone a little bit longer than usual, but I thought it was really, really worth it. Today is a goals day. It's a grand final day for the AFL. It's also your goal setting and getting day. I hope you found that of value. Please like the page, make a comment, and download that book. And I look forward to seeing you at the next one. Cheers, guys. Bye.